seller fees. It just never ends. But we're hoping that once the big things are come in that really attract the sellers and the buyers, that where just you go to the site and the big thing is trust. Some people, they won't even buy it on a new site because they don't trust it. They've never heard of it before, so it must be fraud. And that's not the case, but it's just it's kind of tough to get over that hurdle.
David, you're experiencing phenomenal growth, though, aren't you, in the 2 years? What would you say your rate of growth is, and how many sellers approximately do you think you have now?
We have close to 1,000 sellers right now. Probably only about 300 sellers actually have products. I can look at a list. It'll say the number, but it doesn't break them down by unless they're all in order. So that's just a guess. And we have registered users. We have about 3,000 buyers and sellers total.
Still very much in the growth stage and growing rapidly. How many items would you say you probably have on your site?
Let me see here. I will give you a number right now just for fun.
You have an awfully large number of categories. I've noticed that when I was looking, there's a lot of different places where people can put their items.
Yeah, it's the Google Shopping has their own set of categories, and some of them, like I said before, don't really make sense. They don't make sense where they are. The jewelry that kind of sort of does, but still has confused some people. Like, where do I put this? And so we're going to list them in 2 different places, 2 or maybe 3 different places in cases. But each Google category, there's actually almost 6,000 categories that somewhere around that range. 5,000 something categories, and so we got through the level that we can, but we have to go through the list and we have to add more subcategories now. We've gotten so we've got about 5,000 categories right now, and right now we have 130,339 active listings.
Great.
Here's another question. What are you doing as far as apps for smartphones? I'm noticed a real surge of apps now, like Let Go and OfferUp and stuff like that. They seem to be doing really well. Actually, I've had a good experiences on Let Go. It's like it could be a local or national market. Depending on how far people want to search, they can search as far as they want. And I was just wondering, do you have an app right now for your phones, or is that in the planning stages?
It is in the planning. We're trying to figure out how to do it right now. We're just pretty much trying to make it as mobile friendly as we can without actually having an app, because creating an app is, what I was told from the beginning is you basically either do the app or you do the website, and each one is just as complicated and just as expensive. So when we go to do it, it's going to be like resizing every page and eliminating what is not necessary on certain pages, and it's a big ordeal. It's going to cost a lot of money. So, we're going to put it off as far as we can, and then right now it's just if somebody tells us, hey, if I'm on this page and I don't see this or this is cut off, then I'll mention it to the developers and say, this, I'll send them a screenshot or something, and we can fix it. And so far, I haven't had any complaints about it not working, but it is important, and we are going to work towards having an app as well.
Yeah, good for you. Good.
Tell me about some of the advertising that you're doing to bring in new buyers and sellers.
Well, right now I post stuff on Facebook, every chance I get. I post items like I was a seller. I just say, check out this item. It's only this much money, and here's a link. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying I'm the seller of it. I'm not saying that I'm the, CEO of Toucandeal. I'm just saying, check out this item. And, so I do a lot of that. I actually joined an eBay sellers group. And so most everyone posts stuff all day long their eBay items, and then you'll see my Toucandeal items. And so I do that, and I post on Twitter. It's kind of the same thing, and I'm trying to encourage other sellers to do the same thing, because if they're listing on, well, that's another thing. If a seller posts their items, their Toucandeal items on social media, and somebody follows their link, if they go to that product, and even if they don't buy that product, but if they look at the site, they look at the item, and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then they browse around the site, and they end up buying an item, any item, that seller gets 2% of the sale. So you could list something. Cool. Yeah, you could list something for $10, and and then somebody goes in and they look around, they end up buying an item for $100. You get 2% of $100 just for listing, just for setting your link to bring in that buyer. So we're kind of trying to give incentive to bring in traffic. You're bringing it for yourself, ultimately, but as far as marketing, I work a day job just like most other people. I've spent all of our savings on building it. I've lost a lot of money for developers that said they could do it, and they just totally twisted everything up and in a knot and took our money anyway. So we finally got a developer. I said, you know what, I'm not paying you up front. I'm tired of hearing that. Everyone's saying, I need at least $4,000 up front to get started, and that's the end of that money, and I don't see anything done. So I discuss the project, I have him do it, and then I pay him for it, and it's working out good. And this guy knows what he's doing. So I think we hit gold with that one. So I'm gonna keep him, but I'm sorry, I got totally off the question.
Well, that's not an uncommon story.
Dan, I'd like to ask you, Dan Patrick and David both, what are your predictions for e-commerce? What do you guys see coming down the pike in the near future? What do you see happening?
Well, that's why I brought up the mobile thing. I've had good experiences with Letgo. I mean, I've sold some oddball stuff and things that I thought wouldn't sell. And just by sitting here clicking in my bedroom, with the phone, and it goes directly up to the app, I kind of see a shift in e-commerce towards everything almost, as far as online world, is shifting towards the mobile device, being a pad or a phone or whatever, and that's why I'm real impressed with the way some of these newer apps are working, and I asked him that question. I went to his website, I read his About Us and his frequently asked questions, and immediately identified David as a former seller of either Amazon or eBay from the issues he was addressing, which I think is great. I wish him the best of luck. I'd like to see a third party enter the game of e-commerce. Unfortunately, I think if you've read the news the last couple of days, Jeff Bezos of Amazon was just named the world's wealthiest man, unfortunately, for the world. And that's because Amazon has such a lock on e-commerce. I think it's like 2/3 or more. eBay might have almost the rest of that, and there might be a slither, 5 or 10% to the rest of the world. And that's a big iceberg to chip away at. David, I think you can agree with that 100%. It takes a lot of money to make money. A lot of advertising, a lot of stuff like this, speaking on Rich's radio show to get yourself known. I can't express how much work that has to be, just to get the word out that you're out there. I would have never known if Rich hadn't told me. So, obviously that's a job in itself, a full-time job almost. So, but it's a good thing. What you're doing is a good thing. Obviously, there has to be an alternative to what I call a racket. Because once two entities like Amazon and eBay get so big, it becomes like they're nearing an antitrust area, a monopoly. And to break bust that is going to be almost impossible unless the government gets involved to some extent. So, I wish you the best of luck. I really like the theories and things that you're trying to do.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's very true. They are huge, and we would be ecstatic if we could be a millionth the size of eBay or Amazon. They're just they're massive, and I don't expect it, and I don't think I even want it to be that big. But
Right.
they just clean house once in a while. I don't remember sometime in 2013, I think it was. eBay went and wiped out 15,000 sellers in one day.
Yeah, the big purge. Yeah, they just purge small sellers from time to time. Yeah, it's really brutal.
There was nothing wrong with those sellers. Those are perfectly good sellers doing a perfectly good job, and we would love to have those sellers.
Exactly.
There's a few sellers that are no good. They don't ship stuff. They don't have any customer service skills, and and they get figured out pretty soon. They get shut down pretty soon, whether we would do it or eBay did it or Amazon. But there's the point being there's probably 100,000 sellers out there looking for work. There's that they one time they were selling and they need a place to go. So here we are. Come on over, try it out, and help us spread the word. If we had more than just me that was saying, hey, check this out. This is big stuff. And then of course it's not big stuff yet, but it will be, and it can be.
Well, David, I want to see Toucandeal continue to grow, so I want to invite you. I have about 30 different Facebook groups. If you want to go in there and find them and join them, you're more than welcome to plug, put a little link to Toucandeal in there, every few days, once a week, whatever your schedule permits. And I have absolutely no objection to that. So by all means, continue the social media there using my Facebook groups, and there's at least 30 of them that I've created.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I will look for those.
I think Dan's familiar with quite a few of them, aren't you, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been a member of quite a few of your groups, and always finding something out new and interesting. I think a lot of the activity on the eBay group is kind of slowed down, if I'm not mistaken. But from what I understand, they're continuing to change the rules in the middle of the game as we speak now.
Indeed.
Some words.
Which is exactly the opportunity for sites like Toucandeal to continue to grow and expand and to gain new buyers and sellers. And I think a lot of third party is going to continue, just like the Facebook yard sale groups are growing. I think there's going to be a continued revolt. The bigger the big guys get, then the little guys will begin to grow from the fallout, from the people that are leaving the big sites. Absolutely.
Right. Well, we're done with, we have some stuff listed on eBay, but that's kind of just like a experiment. Like, I'm looking at these items and just to get a little exposure, and I don't care if they suspend me, because I'll flat out say in my listing, I'll say go to Toucandeal and for a better price. And I'm trying to just do whatever I have to do, and I can't get them to suspend me now. But when I was following the rules and trying to work hard, they were always on my back.
Yeah, that's the way they are. It's exactly the experience I think most of us have had, trying to do an honest day's work on there. And, I found out that there's a lot of underground groups that deal in getting people back on eBay after they've been kicked off, and most of them are what they call Vero sellers, people that sell off counterfeits and knockoffs. And these guys, I'm reading, they have as many as 20 to 50 different accounts, and they're the people that seem to be thriving, that eBay tends to encourage to continue on their site. And I think it's a tragedy. And if you're an honest person, they really don't want to have much to do with you unless you're doing
it's absolutely
high
a double standard, and we don't even want to talk about the Chinese sellers that list cheap products by the thousands that have absolutely taken over eBay completely. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, got that right.
Yep, they want to be known for the cheapest products. That some people don't care that they're getting knockoffs, and people don't care that they have to wait 2 or 3 weeks for their products. They just, I'm going to go to eBay because I can get this item for $3, and if I get it from a U.S. seller, then it's going to cost me $6 or whatever.
Well, we've got about 5 minutes left of the show, so I want to give Dan an opportunity to ask another question, and then David, I'm going to let you close with a final statement about Toucandeal. Go right ahead.
Well, actually, I've listened to everything. I've heard everything I needed to hear. So just let David close it out.
All right, David, tell us, make a final statement about Toucandeal for all of our listeners.
Well, I appreciate everybody that comes by. I hope you stop by and take a look. I always do a search there first if I'm looking for something online, and in many cases lately I've been finding the item, maybe not the exact item, but I do find an item, and so it is growing, and prices are very reasonable, and trying to get people to give it just a little bit less than the competitors, and so I appreciate everyone coming. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the sellers, and we're going to take care of you just like eBay and Amazon take care of their buyers. So, I appreciate everybody. Remember the name Toucandeal. Remember the toucan bird, and stop by and say hi. Send me an email. Let me know where you heard about us, and let me know if you see anything that anything that could make it better.
David Pearson, I want to thank you for being my guest tonight. David Pearson with Toucandeal.com. And David, I'd like to invite you back in about 3 months. We'll talk some more. You can tell us about the new features that you have added and how close you are to other things like mobile. And Dan, I want to thank you for calling in tonight as well, Dan Patrick.
Thank you, Rich. Always a pleasure.
Everyone, I want to have everybody a good evening tonight. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.